Yo, what's up, guys? Today I'm back with my Smogon Premier League Week 7 Uber's Wi-Fi battle. It's not Wi-Fi, why did I say that? But Uber's battle versus Steel Phoenix or Steel Skitty or Steel Jacko. He changes his name so many times, but it's for Week 7 of SPL, and it's actually a pretty long match. It's not that long, but as far as replays go, it's kind of long. So if you want, feel free to grab some popcorn, maybe something to eat, or put this on in the background. Obviously, you don't have to listen to me. I never force you to do that. I can't. I'm not grabbing you right now with my hands and like choking you and making you watch my video to the end, leaving a like and a comment, you know? I mean, if I could do that, I'd be bigger than PewDiePie. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, anyway, it's a pretty long match. Now, before I get into it, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for the support on my Pokemon Red Nuzlocke. It's honestly, like, it makes me go, wow. I'm in awe because for a channel that doesn't main Nuzlocks or Let's Plays, for that matter, it's being so well received, and I'm honestly just having fun being myself. Pokemon Red brings back so many memories of my childhood, and I love it. So thank you, everybody, for that. And without further ado, let's get into this match. I just want to say the only play or choice that I made in this match that I disagree with was actually my lead choice, because I was kind of scared of a Sash Deoxys A lead, which can dent me severely, especially because I have no priority on this team. So I decided to lead off a Ho. But then again, looking at his team, it doesn't look like it's Sash Stealth Rock lead, because he has Ferrothorn and Jirachi and I guess Diancie to an extent, though Diancie just magic bounces back. It doesn't usually set up Stealth Rock in Ubers. But yeah, that's why I let off a Ho-Oh. I disagree with that, though, because I think Arceus Ground or even Groudon would have been just a great lead versus his team, as nothing could OHKO it. So, yeah, he ends up leading off with the worst possible lead for me, which is Diancie, as I end up leading off with Ho-Oh. He decides not to Mega Evolve just yet, as he is going to fire off a Diamond Storm. Arceus Ground is my safest and best switch into this thing, and I decided just to fire off a safe EQ. Even though he does have a Giratina Origin form, I have matchup in this game, so I'm going to make my best plays, which are normally the safest plays in this. It's going to be a longer game because of that, but I'm just going to make my best possible plays. So I decided to go out to my Groudon, just in case he had Will-O-Wisp or Toxic or Judgment. Anything he wanted to do, Groudon could take, bar Toxic, as Judgment would have no effect on me because of this sun right here. I need some of that sun, actually. But he decides to double into his Deoxys attack, and this is going to work out for me, because what I can do is just fire off a safe Earthquake. At that range of HP, he could not knock me out with Psycho Boost, as he actually ends up going out to his Arceus Water. And just going to set up my Stealth Rock, trying to figure out if this Arceus can actually... Why am I pointing to it when I have my mouse? I'm literally pointing to the Arceus, and my mouse is on it. Okay, I'm gonna get my hands off my computer. But I decided to go for Stealth Rock because I wanted to bait the Defog if his Arceus did have it. I didn't know if his Giratina was his Defogger or his Arceus, and I wanted to get the free switch into Groudon, or Gengar rather, my Mega Gengar and Mega Evolve, and also scouting for Toxic by doing so. So I do end up switching out into my Gengar, as he does end up revealing Toxic. And now I'm just going to Mega Evolve Protect, because I don't know if he has Judgment or not. He could have Judgment, which would be a 2-hit KO on me. I'm actually a Perish Trapping Gengar. This is my first time ever using it, and my first time actually playing with this team versus him. But yeah, I decided to Mega Evolve Protect, as he ends up going out to Giratina, leading to believe that this is his Defogger. And what I can do with my Ho-Oh is just fire off a Sacred Fire. If he wants to go out to Diancie, I have that chance to burn 50%. Giratina cannot touch me. He decides to drop a Draco, does nothing, as I was able to burn him. And I decided to go for Roost right here, just in case he decided to go for Dragon Tail, as I went for Sacred Fire, sorry. Pause it, my bad. That was later on. I decided to go for Roost just in case he went for Dragon Tail. But I went for Sacred Fire because it was more likely that if he didn't go for Dragon Tail right there, he would switch out to Diancie. And any chip damage on Diancie is great, because Ho-Oh does so well versus his team. Unfortunately, I do miss. Now it's like 20-25% gone, including the chance to burn, a little bit more than that. And that miss may or may not come into play, but I do miss, which is pretty unfortunate. Gonna have to switch out. I do have Regenerator though, so I'm not too worried, as I am gonna switch out to my Arceus Ground once again, as he decides to go for Heal Bell. Good play on his part, expecting me to switch out into my Arceus Ground, as I'm just gonna fire off a safe Earthquake right here, as he decides to go out to his Giratina. Now, my best switch is easily going to be my Ho-Oh due to Regenerator. I could take Dracos, I could take Will-O-Wisp if you want to go for that, as he does decide to go right for Draco right here. And I could fire off a Sacred Fire. I could also go for Roost. I decided to go for Roost, as he brings out his Arceus Water. Now, I don't want this thing getting Toxic. I could have made a few plays right here. I do have aromatherapy on my Xerneas, so it's not really too big of a deal if he does end up toxicking me. But I do also want to scout for a random Stone Edge, which he likes to run on Pokemon just like I do, as well as Judgment. So I believe I decide to switch out into my Groudon, as he does end up bringing out his Diancie just in case I want to go for Sacred Fire, maybe predicting me to go for that Sacred Fire or revealing a status move right there. But he goes for Protect, maybe hoping that I go for my Stealth Rock, as I am just going to go for the safe Earthquake once again. Again, I'm playing it safe, I'm playing it smart. So he ends up bringing out his Giratina, as once again my Ho-Oh is just my best play at this point. Because of Regenerate, I'm back at full HP. So I'm going to fire off Sacred Fire, because if I can get the Arceus burnt, I would easily be able to wear it down. Also, if he wants to switch out to Diancie, could burn that. As you can see, it did 34% plus the burn, an extra 12% right there. And again, I wasn't really too worried about status. The way he switched out before, I don't think he gets Stone Edge, and even Judgment would not. It would be a 2-hit KO, but I could eat it up and get it back with Regenerator and stuff like that. And I do have aromatherapy on my Xerneas. So he ended up going out into his Diancie right here, as I am just going to switch out into my Arceus Ground, as he decides to go for Heal Bell once again. And what I can do right here is I could double, but again, Earthquake is my safest play. I have switch-ins for his Giratina. So I'm going to make the switch out right now into my Gengar, as he actually catches me off guard with the Will-O-Wisp. I expected Toxic or Recover right there, and because of that, I'm kind of scared of Judgment. So what I initially planned to do was trap him and then Perish Song and stuff like that, just have him die. But now I'm going to bring out my Groudon, as I am going to let him Toxic me, as I am going to be able to get up my Stealth Rocks. And I decided right here that what I could do is actually just make the switch out into my Xerneas, predicting his Giratina, because I made the safe play so many times that it's more than likely his Giratina gonna want to come in. And because he does have 2 switch-ins to this, which are pretty safe, I don't feel like Geomancying just yet. I just wanted to go for aromatherapy, and because he does know me, he predicts my aromatherapy really well, and ends up going for Defog. Had I went for Moonblast right there, I guess it could have been nice, but again, I still have switches for what he wants to do. So I'm going to pull the switch out into my Groudon, predicting him to want to go out into one of the Pokemon that can take on my Xerneas, as he actually ends up going out into his Arceus Water. And once again, just going to go right for the Stealth Rock, as he ends up going right for the Toxic and then following it up with a Will-O-Wisp. I decided to go for Roar just in case he wants to double Will-O-Wisp right there. And right here, he decides to go out into his Jirachi. I think that Ho-Oh is a rather safe switch, and I'd rather him not Iron Head me to death, but he ends up ruling U-turn. I'm not sure if he's running a lot of speed on his Jirachi or not, because I could have potentially knocked him out right there, but he ends up bringing out his Diancie, as once again Arceus Ground is my safest switch, as he is going to make the Diamond Storm play, and Recover is my best play right here, as I will be able to eat up any attack he wants to go for, as he does end up switching out into Arceus Water. So again, I have a few plays I can make right here. I decide Latios is probably the most expendable member on my team, because I want to potentially trap this Arceus, which is why I decided to double right here into Ho-Oh, also predicting him to want to go out into his Ferrothorn and his Jirachi, but he decides to recover after getting off that Toxic, and at this point I'm like, okay, screw it, I'm going to T-Wave this thing. I'm tired of it spreading status and not dying. I can trap it with Gengar, but I got to play it smart. So right here, what I'm going to do is switch out into my Xerneas, as he is going to switch out now into Jirachi. Bit of a risky play, but it's going to work out for him, obviously. If I went for Sacred Fire right there, that would have been good. But I am just going to go right for aromatherapy, winning just to take this Iron Head, as I can take him on. And what I am going to do is just switch out into my Arceus Ground. I didn't want to go out into Ho-Oh just in case he had Toxic, but unfortunately he ends up going for Wish, which I did not see coming. I guess I should have, but I didn't see that coming, and I can't knock out Giratina with Stone Edge upon switching unless I get a crit. So I'm going to pull the switch out into my Ho-Oh, expecting him to defog right here. I'm just going to go for Brave Bird, getting off a hell of a lot of damage on this Giratina, as I can safely fire off a Sacred Fire right at this point, as he ends up going out into his Arceus Water. And again, I have a few plays I can make right here. I decided to go out into my Groudon, as I don't want to go directly into my Gengar, since I don't know what move he's running on this thing, as he does get paralyzed. And I am just going to fire off an Earthquake, as he ends up going for Toxic. And at this point, I decide, okay, I could either go for Stealth Rock right here, or I can just switch directly into Gengar, as I'm expecting him to recover. So he does end up going for Recover, and I am sub Perish Song. I'm just going to go right for Perish Song, as unfortunately for him, he ends up missing a Will-O-Wisp, which is pretty huge, because now I can just go right for the substitute. Obviously, I did have aromatherapy on my team, but it does happen. Had I hit the DNC with Sacred Fire, it could have potentially been dead after all the burn damage. But, I mean, things happen. Obviously, you know, hacks is hacks. We can't control it. I could apologize for it. I'm sorry, but, you know, it happens. So, I'm able to sub protect as he reveals the Ice Beam, so he couldn't even break my sub. I could have trapped him so long ago, and I had taunt on this Gengar too. So, I'm going to switch out into my Groudon because it's already statused. It's my best possible switch, and it doesn't really care about what this Arceus Water wants to do, as I am finally able to get rid of a Pokemon at turn 48. So, it's 6-5 as he is going to go out into his Deoxys. Now, I feel like Latios is the most expendable member on my team, and he's definitely going to want to go for the Psycho Boost. One play I could have made was go out to Deoxys and then switch out, but it didn't matter because he revealed Pursuit, which is pretty cool. Little bit innovative right there, as he's able to knock me out anyway. And I'm just going to go out to my Arceus Ground, as I could just fire off an Earthquake right here, as he decides to go out into his Ferrothorn. So, I decided to go for the SD because I wasn't sure if he'd Leech Seed or not, predicting my Ho-Oh, and I didn't really want to bring in my Ho-Oh on like a potential Toxic. So I went for SD right here, as he doesn't end up going for Leech Seed, and now I'm pretty positive he is going to want to go for the Protect, as +2 Earthquake will knock him out at that range. So I'm going to switch out into my Ho-Oh, as he doesn't end up going for Protect, and Sacred Fire is just a free move, honestly. Ferrothorn isn't really going to be doing crap to me. He has to follow out something. He can't risk the burn on DNC, which could potentially be dead if had I hit the other Sacred Fire. But I'm able to knock out the Giratina upon switching, as he is going to go out to DNC. And he's actually going to pull the double out into Ferrothorn, predicting my Arceus Ground, which I make for the umpteenth time. Again, I'm making just my safest plays to win. So, at this point, I have to go back out to Ho-Oh because he is going to go for the... Stealth Rock, and all I gotta do is hit Sacred Fire to knock out Ferrothorn, prevent my Ho-Oh from getting status, and I can still play around Deoxys because Ho-Oh, it won't be worn down by a potential Toxic or Leech Seed. Those Stealth Rock are up, I will have to sack whenever Deoxys comes in, but as long as I can roost up with my Ho-Oh, I am good. So, he is gonna go for Stealth Rock as I miss another Sacred Fire, and he is able to Toxic my Ho-Oh, so it hits. I mean, it's whatever, it happens. I miss, but, you know, it happens. Whatever, he missed Will-O-Wisp versus my Arceus. Though, again, had I hit the other Sacred Fire versus the answer, would have been good. But I decided to go for Brave Bird, predicting his Protect. And what I can do is just fire off a Sacred Fire as he decides to go out into his Diancie. And he does end up surviving right there. And I'm forced to switch out, as I don't want to take any unnecessary damage anyway from... I don't want to die, one. I need... Ho-Oh, and 2, Arceus Ground can easily take on whatever attack he wants to go for. So I decided to go for Recover, as he is going to reveal his last move, which is Earth Power. They don't really run Moonblast in this tier, as if they're running Heal Bell, they usually run Protect. But I am going to fire off an Earthquake, as I do get a crit on his Ferrothorn, which is nice. Doesn't really make up for the Sacred Fire miss, as Ferrothorn would be dead, but just getting this damage means I can knock him out with the next Earthquake. I guess it was a 50-50 in case that protected, in case he protected and got the leftovers recovery, but I decided just to go for Earthquake again, as I get a double crit. The next crit didn't matter. Earthquake would have knocked him out, as he is going to go out to his Deoxys. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky, because he got up Stealth Rock. I'm basically forced to sack some Pokemon, and then bring in Arceus and recover. So, he can do 2 plays right here. He can Pursuit me, which means that Arceus can't even take a -2 Psycho Boost, which is a good play. But if he does that, I get in my Gengar, which has a pretty... It's a 50-50 whether it is Pursuit or not. It's a 50% chance in my favor. And then it becomes a 50-50 if I can get a double Protect. But if he does end up going for Psycho Boost, I do get a free Recover with my Arceus Ground. And I just win the game, in all honesty, because I just Earthquake everything. So I was willing to go out into my Gengar if he did go for Pursuit, as he does end up making the Pursuit play. Again, I could always, I go out to my Gengar, and now he's going to make the Pursuit. He's going to go for Pursuit, and it's a roll right here, whether it knocks me out or not. I do get the roll. It was 50-50 if he knocked me out with that or not, and I'm able to get it, which means that he's trapped due to Shadow Tag, and what I can do is just go for the Parashon, which was my best play, and I'm just going to go right for Protect, because I lock him in for 1 turn, and now it's basically, do I get the double Protect or not, if I can knock him out. Again, I could still play around his Deoxys, because I could recover up versus Jirachi or versus Diancie. I would just have to do some sacks, but I do end up getting the double Protect, which means that all I got to do is sack Gengar. I try to go for a triple Protect just to check if I, get the luck or not, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't really matter, as at this point, Deoxys is going to go down to the Destiny, or Perish Song rather, as Gengar put in a lot of work, trapped 2 Mons, and got the Devil Protect, which was nice, and I could just go out into my Arceus ground, recover up versus his Jirachi. I decided to go for recover just in case. I don't even know. I didn't think Jirachi could live, but if he was running some like physically defensive spread, he could live it. So I went for recover, as all I got to do is click Earthquake now, and Arceus ground will be able to knock out Mega Diancie as well as Jirachi from that range of HP, and that was a good game. So yeah, bit hacksy. Will-O-Wisp missed, Sacred Fire misses. You could argue which one mattered more, I guess, but had I gotten rid of Diancie early, Ho-Oh would have just had so much fun. Had I hit Ferrothorn, Ho-Oh wouldn't be toxic, and it actually wouldn't be a liability versus Deoxys because I could roost up and then get a kill every single time Ho-Oh came in, and Arceus ground could recover up. But, you know, I got the roll in my favor, which was really nice. It was a good game, Steel. Hope you guys all enjoyed. Feel free to leave a like. I know it's a bit longer for a replay, but I do hope you guys all enjoyed. Subscribe if you want, and until next time, later.